There is a fifth dimension, beyond that which is known to man. It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition, and it lies between the pit of man's fears and the summit of his knowledge. This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call the Twilight Zone.
Hello to you all and welcome back to New to Comics. Today we have a very special near and dear project for you. This is Hyde Street, my #1 favorite ongoing series. Now this series was written by the wonderful Jeff Johns, illustrated and penciled by none other than Ivan Reis, and colors were done by Danny Miki. For this video, Adam and I have teamed up to provide you a quick summary on Volume 1. The trade is available now. If this series seems interesting to you, go out and pick it up at your LCS. So starting with issue 1 here, we can't go anywhere without introducing our two main characters, Pranky and Mr. X-Ray. As you can tell, that larger-than-life ominous figure is none other than Mr. X-Ray, and the little twerp kid is Pranky. Issue 1 really starts off with the grandiose scale of the world. You see highly detailed art by Ivan Reis, and you're introduced to what this world has to offer. This is accomplished through Pranky helping an old woman cross the street. But as you'll see as a trend in this story, there's always a twist. After that introduction to Pranky, we are introduced to none other than Mr. X-Ray and what he has to offer to the world. He's quite the antagonist, with no redeemable qualities whatsoever, and we are put straight into his mind and his psyche. He's a salesman of sorts, but beyond that, he is a con artist and deserves to be left in the depths of hell. Or as we'll come to find out, something much worse. Like I said before, Mr. X-Ray is irredeemable. He's a villain. He's sinister. Yet there's something redeemable about him deep within. Mr. X-Ray is banished for his actions and for his choices in life and sent to none other than Hyde Street, a place that falls in between heaven and hell. The purpose of this issue is really to set the tone of the world, to show you how ominous and dark things could really get. It is critical to remember that these characters have not lost their lives but ended up in a purgatory of sorts. How will they escape? Where's the source of their freedom? The rules of this world will be explained in further issues, but for now, this issue establishes the tone and the characters.
Issue 2 provides the reader with insight into the previous life of young Pranky, a Boy Scout with a particular affinity for chaos. Instead of tying knots or selling cookies, Pranky was always a catalyst for mayhem. Cut to the present day, we can see Pranky's clear defiance of authority in his conversation with the policeman. The residents of Hyde Street feed off guilt, trauma, and fear, rather than it just being a haunted location. In this issue, we get our first look at Pranky's badge system. Pranky's badges are anything but ordinary. Each signifies a soul collected and the manner in which it was done.
Issue 3 steps away from the idea of setting up world and dynamics to giving you actual character interactions and a fun Christmas special of sorts. In this issue, a man dresses up as Santa Claus in order to do malicious deeds and steal from children and families. His sinister intentions lead him to no other place than the infamous Hyde Street, but he has no idea he has to deal with the likes of both Pranky and Mr. X-Ray fighting for his soul. Something to note about Pranky is that he has a certain sweet spot and vendetta against people who hurt children. You see, Pranky was robbed of his childhood, so anytime someone jeopardizes or threatens the likes of someone else's, he takes it personally. Mr. X-Ray, on the other hand, is strictly business. He tinkers and does the same things he did before he ended up in this purgatory of sorts. As you can imagine, once these characters interact, it is complete polar opposites attempting to work together. Pranky needs his help, and Mr. X-Ray wants nothing to do with the kid. Regardless of their discrepancies, they both recognize that this individual is vulnerable, and he can be claimed as a soul on Hyde Street. They, of course, reluctantly work together, but at what cost? This issue really showcases how much fun that the series can be outside of establishing the rules and the norms. But, as we'll come to find out, every action has serious consequences on Hyde Street.
Issue 4 introduces Oscar Oddman, an aspiring actor with dreams of being the legendary Frankenstein. However, Oddman quickly learns he's being cast as Frankenstein's brother instead. Oscar initially disagrees with taking the role, but he's eventually persuaded due to his financial troubles. Over time, Mr. Oddman's humanity is slowly stripped away until the only thing left is the monster. After a halt in production, Oscar begins his descent into darkness as his paranoia takes over, eventually leading to a one-way trip straight into Hyde Street.
Issue 5 introduces us to our newest unlucky member of Hyde Street and puts their origin on full display. You see, Miss Goodbody is a woman obsessed with her self-image and deeply insecure, something we see in modern times, imposing her vision of what perfection should look like on others. It is important to know that Ivan Reyes takes a break on this issue, giving the penciling job to none other than Francis Portela, who does a stylized but unique take on the world and characters. This issue establishes who are the big players of Hyde Street. Mr. X-Ray is feared, respected, and well known, indicating that as a veteran of Hyde Street, he is both knowledgeable but also doomed. As the plot progresses, Mr. X-Ray asks a favor from Miss Goodbody in return for others. It is important to circle back to the focus of this issue, which is the origin of Miss Goodbody, a woman deeply insecure and struggling with her own self-image. As you can imagine, she imposes these images on others, and this sinful action leads her nowhere else than Hyde Street.
Issue 6 can be seen as the turning point in the story. The focus shifts back to Mr. X-Ray as he attempts to dispose of Pranky. This issue leans more into psychological horror, as Mr. X-Ray tests a group of patrons fresh delivered from Hollywood Boulevard. We get deeper glimpses into the past, revealing that the unfortunate souls that end up on Hyde Street are products of unresolved guilt and trauma. As the issue closes, it becomes evident that Mr. X-Ray's brutality is far worse than anyone could imagine.
The final issue of Hyde Street sets the precedent that anyone could end up in this circumstance. The rules of Hyde Street and the victims are both subjects of good and evil intentions. This issue is filled to the brim with excellent action and pacing, giving us insight into how these characters go about fighting one another, showing us a little preview too of the power scaling of this world. Although Pranky is portrayed as a small child, he is still an imposing threat to both his victims and the members of Hyde Street. He will go at any lengths to get what he wants, and he is so tormented and twisted that he sees the fate of others' lives as a game to play. This issue showcases the epic showdown between the matinee monster, one of the most redeemable members of Hyde Street, versus the absolutely tormented and twisted Pranky, going head-to-head fighting for a soul. These characters represent such conflicting ideologies, and it's only natural that they end in violence. It is inspiring to see a character like the matinee monster seeking redemption through his actions. His character design communicates fear. His body is torn apart and disjointed, dismembered, yet his heart still intact. And then we see Pranky, a tormented, wounded, and robbed child, with no recollection of past events as to what he should be or how he should live. He is emotionally wounded, but he hurts others physically, and he sees the matinee monster as a form of redemption that he is not worthy of himself. I want to give a big shout out to Adam. Thank you for making this video with me. It was so fun. We're huge fans of Hyde Street, our favorite ongoing series. At least mine, maybe Adam, top 3. Special shout out to Jeff Johns and the creative team at Ghost Machine. They produce excellent works. If you are not tapped in, please do so. It's a huge disservice to yourself to not be reading these wonderful stories. Thank you. Shout out to Comic Collective, shout out New to Comics, and thanks for watching.